looking like right now.
And that's exactly why Emily Siegel and Samuel Shearer are leaving.
This is debris from Helene.
Yeah.
They closed on their new home weeks ago, just before Helene roared ashore.
What does this house mean to you guys? What does it represent?
I mean, it was going to be like our future, like long-term house. So this is pretty disappointing.
Like so many here in Florida, they don't have insurance.
We're still hoping it goes south, but we're definitely preparing for the worst.
Thankfully, they have another place to stay. They plan, like many others on this island, to leave tonight. And as Milton sharpens its aim, Tampa is bracing for a potential direct hit. Tom Yamas is there, and Tom, that area is especially vulnerable.
Yeah, Lester, that's right. There's a combination of factors, including the shape of Tampa Bay, the fact that it's shallow near the coastline, and that's why that storm surge damage from Hurricane Helene was so severe. It's the reason why these piles are so big. And we've just learned from county officials here in Hillsborough County that most of the piles still around the Tampa area will not be picked up. They tell us too many workers have evacuated, that there's just too much debris, and not... For more than a century, Tampa has avoided a direct hit from a major hurricane. But as Milton barrels across the Gulf, experts warn this time Tampa could be in the bullseye.
Large portions of the Tampa Bay area are going to be uninhabitable. You're not going to have power. You may not have other essentials.
According to one report, Tampa is one of the most vulnerable places in the country when it comes to storm surge. And the National Hurricane Center warned could bring a wall of water up to 15 feet.
I've never seen a hurricane with that trajectory before, so it kind of spooked a lot. It could be.
Congressman Jared Moskowitz used to run Florida's Department of Emergency Management. He says Category 5 hurricane.
Director of Emergency Management and the National Hurricane Center is talking what's the worst case scenario for Florida. It is that.
Researchers say the underwater depth off the coast and the funnel shape of the bay, a light, powerful storm could trap an enormous buildup of water. Another challenge, Tampa's dense population, more than 3 million.
Folks came from as far as Louisiana and Missouri with ambulances to help transport and move these patients safely.
Bob Fritzinger was moved from a hospital in Pinellas County, which sits on the Gulf, to safer ground.
They were really working. I mean, they're running up and down the halls.
Tampa resident Jennifer North will ride out the storm inside this shelter with her daughter Liliana.
I don't live too far from here, but my house is quite old and there's a lot of trees. Since it's just the two of us, I just felt safer being at a community shelter.
And the storm is so powerful, you're not going to take any chances?
Yeah, I'm not going to take any chances.
Okay. Liliana turns 2 on Friday. Her mom's still hopeful they'll get the chance to celebrate back home, even as this historic storm rages on. Tom Yamas, NBC News, Tampa.
Now to the race for the White House. Vice President Harris facing tough questions on her media tour, while former President Trump's campaign responding to reports in a new book about his relationship with Vladimir Putin. Here's Garrett Haig.
Tonight, in her ongoing media blitz, Vice President Harris telling ABC she wouldn't change anything. Biden did.
What you have done during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Later saying she would name a Republican to her cabinet. Former President Trump slamming the response, calling it, quote, her dumbest answer so far, and Biden the worst president in history. While on CBS, Harris was pressed about her record on the border.
Was it a mistake to loosen the immigration policies as much as you did?
It's a long-standing problem, and solutions are at hand. And from day one, literally, we have been offering solutions.
But the numbers...
Because of what we have done, we have cut the flow of illegal immigration by half.
New data obtained by NBC News shows there were 54,000 illegal border crossings last month, the lowest number in 3 years. Meanwhile, Washington Post reporter Bob Woodward writes in a new book that former President Trump secretly sent Russian President Putin COVID tests for his personal use in 2020. Please don't tell anybody you sent these to me, Woodward says Putin told Trump. I don't care, Trump replied. Fine. Woodward citing an unnamed aide who claims Trump may have spoken to Putin as many as 7 times since leaving the White House. NBC News has not confirmed Woodward's reporting. The Trump campaign responding in part, quote, none of these made-up stories by Bob Woodward are true. Harris slamming Trump today.
Everybody was scrambling to get these kits, the tests. This guy who is president of the United States is sending them to Russia, to a murderous dictator for his personal use?
Learned of an election day terror plot. What more do we know?
That's right, Lester. The FBI arrested 27-year-old an Afghan citizen living in Oklahoma City, saying he wanted to conduct that election day attack in the name of ISIS. The DOJ saying he was arrested while trying to buy static weapons and ammunition. Lester?
All right, Garrett Haig, thank you. In the Middle East, the fighting in Israel and Hezbollah is only getting worse. Lebanon's health ministry says 36 people were killed and 150 wounded in attacks by Israel this week. Richard Engel is in Beirut with
Israel is delivering Hezbollah crushing blows. Today, new video shows Israeli troops raising the Israeli flag in a southern Lebanese village. Although the Israeli military has yet to confirm it, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today claimed an Israeli strike killed Hezbollah's successor, chosen to replace Hassan Nasrallah, assassinated by Israel just days before.
Hezbollah is weaker than it's been for many, many years.
Riding high, the Biden administration worries Netanyahu could retaliate against Iran's recent missile barrage coordinating with the U.S. Tonight, the Israeli defense minister's planned visit to the U.S., set for tomorrow, was postponed. President Biden has said he does not support striking Iran's nuclear facilities. Ahead of November's election, Vice President Harris weighed in on 60 Minutes.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood.
Here in evacuation, picking up pace, 10 U.S. charter, including today, have so far taken out 1,000 Americans, and hundreds more have left on commercial flights. There's an urgency to get them out. Lester?